Welcome crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, whoever may be listening beyond the omniverse tonight. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the Wapatas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, December 9th, Sunday, December 10th, for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. So grateful for whoever's out there to have been joining us. Listening live to us right now, you may be listening to us on KPNL Radio, which you can find on KPNL Radio at kpnl-db.com. You may also find us on eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio. And we also have a friend of ours, Mr. Jonathan Alexander, and he talked to me about setting up a channel. It wouldn't be on YouTube, it would be on some sort of satellite TV or something. I'm not sure. But that's pretty interesting, pretty exciting. Pretty exciting indeed. If you like to watch as you listen or whatnot, feel free to watch us over on our channel on YouTube under We Are Paradox Media. If you don't mind, please subscribe, like any videos that you've watched or listened to, and leave us any comments, whether good or bad, your experience with the show, or perhaps some future guests that you'd like to have on. For some reason, I'm not hearing the music, so perhaps it is a blessing that we haven't heard from our guest this evening. So, being that we have some technical issues going on here, it's like, what the crick? You can also watch us live on Facebook under We Are Paradox Media, as well as Twitch. We have a couple people come and go over there, but for some reason I can't log into it and see like what shows still remain there, if they do, or if it's just a live thing that's going on. If you like to listen on any app that you like to listen to your podcasts on, and you should be able to find us there under We Are Paradox Media. Some places it's We Are Paradox Media 101 or WAPM 101. But We Are Paradox Media, you should be able to find it. Find it there. But yeah, we're all over the place, and we're being listened to all over the world, which to me is quite interesting. So yeah, I do apologize about our guest not being here tonight. I hope everything is okay with him and his wife. Hopefully everything's sound. I don't know my thoughts. I just saw something flash up on my phone that was saying there was a pretty bad tornado in Tennessee, and 3 people they're saying have been killed in that. But my prayers go out to everybody out there. It's a hard time of year it's hard any time you have a tornado going on, but it's a hard time of year to be going through that with all the cold and stuff. It's been very, very frigid. I was just checking my sound really quick, making sure I'm coming through loud and clear. So, since we haven't heard from our guests, we will be continuing with story time with me, TessaTNT. And so, since I had it set up to have a guest on, our breaks will be a little shorter, about 4 to 5 minutes shorter. Yay. It'll be alright. So the book we've been reading is The World's Most Evil Psychopaths, Horrifying True Life Cases. You can see some of the guys there on the front. There's pictures throughout. We're talking about Moida, psychopaths, serial killers, and it's been starting off like, I believe they're doing it from earliest cases to the later ones. Where is everybody? So the next person we will be reading about is Dr. Holmes, H.H. Holmes. Look at that gentleman. I'm wondering, is this the guy that built the hotel where people would stay and then miraculously disappear. Dr. H. Holmes. It is not correct, as it is often claimed, that H. Holmes was America's first serial killer. Both the Bloody Benders, a Kansas City of serial killers, and the Servant Girl Annihilator preceded him. He did, however, kill more people than the Servant Girl Annihilator and all the members of the Bender family put together. The claim that Holmes was the most prolific American serial killer of all time remains an issue of some debate. The man who history remembers as H. Holmes was born Herman Webster Mudgett on 16 May 1860 in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. Nearly a century and a half later, the two numbers barely more than 3,000 inhabitants. It is perhaps most famous as having served as a model for Grace Metellus' Peyton Place, the setting for the 1956 novel of the same name. Holmes grew up in an impoverished family with an abusive alcoholic father at its head. School provided only a partial escape. While an intelligent and handsome boy, he was also a frequent victim of bullying. He once claimed that as a child he had been forced by his classmates to touch a human skeleton. It was an event that appeared to haunt him for the rest of his life. Nevertheless, he sought to become a medical doctor and developed a fascination with anatomy. As an adolescent, this interest found expression in his killing and dismembering of stray animals. At 16, he graduated from school and managed to get teaching positions first in Gilmanton and later in nearby Alton, New Hampshire. It was there that he met Clara Lovering. That's quite an interesting name. The ardor between them was such that the two eloped. However, in marriage, that same passion quickly dissipated and he soon abandoned his wife. Wow. Taking lessons from your pa? Still intent on a career in medicine, he attended the University of Vermont. It was, however, too small for his liking. In September 1882, he enrolled at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, which held what was considered to be one of the country's leading medical schools. 2 years later, he graduated with what are best described as lackluster grades. After graduation, Mudgett adopted as his name the more distinguished-sounding Henry Howard Holmes. He took up a position as prescription clerk in a pharmacy owned by a terminally ill doctor named Holton. He endeared himself to Holton's wife and customers. When the good doctor passed away, Holmes offered to buy the pharmacy, promising the newly made widow $100 a month. After signing over the deed, Mrs. Holton subsequently disappeared. Holmes claimed she had settled with relatives in California. Under Holmes, the pharmacy thrived in the growing Inglewood neighborhood of Chicago. In 1887, he married Myrna Z. Belknap, a stunning young woman whom he had met during a business trip to Minneapolis. She remained unaware that Holmes had been married before and that he had not attained a divorce. In their third year of marriage, Myrna bore a daughter named Lucy. By this time, she had already returned to the home of her parents. Though Holmes would never seek a divorce, the union was all but over. Oh, it looks like Alan's here. Alright, so I'm going to put this away and... Yay, Alan! Hi, Alan! Good to see you. I was actually telling everybody it was kind of a blessing that I didn't have you on here because for some reason my earbuds, they're connected, but they're not picking up any sound. So I can't hear you at the moment, but let me see if I could fix that really quick. Apologies. Let me look down here and see if this helps. Come on. Yeah, it says it's working weird. Let me look over here really quick. Okay. Still not getting anything. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to figure this out. Um, yeah, being that we are having this issue, we can reschedule if you want to. It's totally up to you. Um, hold on, I'm still trying to figure out why this is not working. Sound. Okay, there we go. All right. Can you hear me, Alan? Yes. It's showing you, but you're frozen. Okay, we'll try that. Yeah. Okay. See you in a few. Alrighty. Yay, we got Alan in. I'm assuming that is Truzido over there in the Twitch. Our one and only Twitcher. We actually have a couple come in and out, but I think Twitch is more of a gaming thing, which I've been thinking about getting back into World of Tanks. My husband and my son like play it quite often. Um, and doing that on video, that would be fun. Except for I'm a bit out of practice, so but my son tears it up, man. I'm hoping like once he gets to age and uh by that time maybe the military will have, you know how they have drones now, perhaps they'll have tanks where you can control them through that through computers or whatnot. Okay, can you see yourself now? Awesome. Well, welcome, Alan. Good to see you. I was worried about you. I was like, man, I hope everything is going okay over there, but I didn't give you like a heads up, too long before, so yeah, go ahead. That's good. For sure. Um, no, actually, I didn't, but I was hoping we could just like start all over with the sound issues and everything. Like right now, for some reason, oh, it could be because I changed the sound setting over here, but it's not going out to eTalk. But it seems like the sound is okay over here. So, if anyone in the chat room can hear him, if everything sounds fine, just let us know, and I'll try to work on this as we go. But if you can remind our listeners, like what you do as far as like your psychic mediumship and also your books and stuff, that'd be great.
I
Yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this sound to go through. And now you guys are living in Utah. How are you liking that? Oh.
We're paying anywhere as close for that one bed.
Yeah, the prices are just insane as far as housing and stuff.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm getting a.
Oh, it's like I'm
Yeah, sorry, I just.
really bad.
I think I just pushed the wrong button. Give me a second. Let me
I
fix
can't
this.
hear you.
Sorry about that. Trying to get it to where
Why don't we reschedule?
I can hear you and the sound's going out. It looks like the sound is going out right now, but then we're getting this weird echo thing. So give me just 1 second
You can't hear me.
to fix this really quick. Okay.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, and I'm still not hearing you. Give me just 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Got an echo, like it did.
Yeah, is that any better? Hello?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, hold on.
I can't hear you.
Okay, let me try to fix this really quick. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it sounds like you're in some kind of tunnel.
Is that any better?
Yeah, a little bit. My voice
Okay.
is coming across. I talk, but you don't. It comes.
Okay, so is your voice echoing to you now?
No, it's all right.
Okay, and I could just try like what I've been doing for the past couple shows because we do get like an echo in there. I'll just mute my mic and then I'll talk whenever. But you were talking about your grandmother or your mom doing predictions about your family, and then I think I kind of lost you because I was messing with the sound settings.
Yeah. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, I was quite young. I had a dream one night, and it was kind of a weird dream. I dreamed that I was in a funeral, and a funeral service, and there was a casket up in front of the room, and I went up to see who was in the casket, and there was an old lady in the casket, and she had pure white hair, very white hair, and I didn't know who she was, you know. But anyway, I know all the family was there at the funeral, people that I remember anyway, like my grandparents. But so anyway, I was over at my grandparents' house one day in Phoenix. They lived in Phoenix also, and I was just looking around the living room that they had, and they had pictures of family members and stuff. And anyway, I came to a picture of this old lady, looked like she was in her 60s or 70s, and she had this white hair. And I asked my grandmother, I said, "Who is this?" And she said, "That's your great grandmother." I said, "Really?" You know, I knew then that my great grandmother was trying to connect with me very young, and she did it in a way of a dream. She had to send me that dream. And so I knew who my great grandmother was at a very young age, and we talked about her quite often. But yeah, my grandmother had premonitions about family things and things that was going to happen. So did my mother. Um, so these things that I've had, the abilities that I have, has continued to get stronger as I got older. And uh, I found out that I knew things about people and things as far as what they did. I also knew things about that was going to happen. Um, I After I saw my grandfather in 1983, went back and saw him. Uh, During this, I call it an astral projection. It's the only thing I can think of calling it. But during this journey that I was on there, I was with them, and it felt like I was only there maybe 8 hours. I know I left at bedtime, which I went to bed then, and I slept for about 8 hours, I thought. And it kind of felt like this was all a dream. And I thought, my God, what a dream. But it wasn't a dream. I was there, and they have no time there. Uh, this place that they're in is it's a perfect place, and it was just like Earth. And anyway, I could have been there. I could have been there 20 years. There's no time there, so they don't get old. Uh, they live forever. Um, but that's the lowest place that I found out. It's the lowest place of heaven. Um, when you die, if you're a good person, you don't go around killing people and raping women and all kinds of things. Uh, you go to this place, and I like to call it paradise because I think Jesus mentioned it once in the Bible, and that's when he was on the cross being crucified, and he was between two criminals. And the one criminal said, "If you're the Son of God, take yourself off that cross and get me off the cross also, and prove that you're the Son of God." Pretty much, I'm paraphrasing. But the other criminal, they were thieves or something. I don't think they killed anybody. But anyway, the other criminal said, "Master, remember me when you go into your kingdom." And Jesus said to him, "Today you'll be with me in paradise." And so that's the only place I can remember Jesus in the Bible calling it paradise. Most generally, it's referred to as heaven or whatever. And uh, that's where we go once we die. And it's a beautiful place. There's no death, no sickness, no nothing. Everything's perfect. But anyway, to continue on, I after I after I came back from that, my abilities have been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. In fact, at a faster rate than what they were before I went and saw my grandfather. Uh, I've been every so often I receive like it's like somebody talks to my mind and tells me things about what's going to happen in the world. I was shown things. Um, I know what's going to happen in the world, but there again, I don't. I put it in my last book that I wrote, book number 9, things to come, and it talks about. I talk about things that's going to be happening in this world. We're in the last days right now, or we're sitting right in the beginning of them. You could almost get a lawn chair and sit out in your front yard and watch the things that's going on that's mentioned in the Bible. Uh, uh, I had a gentleman call on one talk show that I was on. He called in and wanted to know if I knew um, where the World War III was going to begin at, and this was way before Russia invaded uh, Ukraine and so on. And I told him, I said, well, what I saw was it started up around the Black Sea, Poland, and in that area. And it really kind of surprised me because I didn't know that there was so much turmoil up there or whatever. I call it up there because it's on the other side of the world. But uh, and then I also told him that I also saw in the Middle East that there was going to be trouble, more so than what has been before. And now we see Israel going through Gaza like it's some kind of, I don't know what. But this is the start of World War III. I almost bet my life on it because the things that's happening there. I know World War III things are going to happen that's going to draw the whole world in it. And all these countries right now, they're allies. Uh, if they're warring too bad, they're going to draw the allies in. And next thing you know, we got World War III. I knew about COVID before it got here. About no, I guess it was about. I had a feeling that something was going to happen, and I even talked to a couple of other psychics and asked them. I said, "Are you getting a feeling like something's going to happen?" I felt like somebody was about ready to throw a rock at me or something. It was hard to describe. And
Yeah, and I totally know what you're talking
anyway,
about because myself and, like you said, other psychics that I associate it with and such, like, have the same feeling, like something's about to happen. We didn't know exactly what it was,
yeah.
but we knew like stuff was about to hit the fan.
Well, as it got closer, I realized it was going to be a sickness. I was telling people it was going to be a sickness. Uh, and when a pandemic hit, I it didn't surprise me at all. It didn't surprise me at all. Um, and I'm getting the feeling again, and I'm pretty sure it's another sickness that's going to be coming, and it's going to
Yeah,
be
I feel that too. And they're saying that there's another version of COVID that's out there, but then there's also like this white lung sort of pneumonia thing that originated in China, and it's already like I think in Ohio, and who knows where else it's spread here and everywhere else. And it mostly affects children this time.
yeah, but it's pretty bad. It's gonna do a lot of damage. Uh, I uh, I think when just before it hits, we'll probably know for sure. But I know in this COVID, I was told also that it was a man-made thing.
Mhm.
It was made over there in China. The only thing is they made a mistake. It got out of the lab, and it wasn't supposed to be out of the lab. And guess who got it first? China. But it was made mainly as a weapon, and they were going to use it on countries like the United States, UK, and stuff like that. Um,
And it's really funny too because a lot of like very successful, rich Americans and Canadians and other people all have their fingers in that pie. Like they all paid for this. They all knew it was going to
yeah,
happen.
but anyway, That's pretty much the way the next one's going to go, except it's going to be worse. It's going to be much worse. Because of the wars and the pandemics that's coming down, there's going to be shortages of food, shortages of everything. Uh, so I've been telling everybody that I know it would be best to stock away some food, uh, stock away water, even uh, stock away whatever you can, paper products, and don't use them if you can help it.
Mhm.
Um, but it's going to take, oh, I would say at least a couple years in this next one just to get the stores up and running again, if they do at all. I don't know. I know when Lori and I moved into this house here, it was an acre of property, and there was only a few trees on it, and they were, flowering trees or whatever you want to call them. But I went crazy. I bought fruit trees. I got every kind of fruit tree you want. As long as it can grow in southern Arizona, it's out there. And I'm planning on hopefully before this thing gets here, of having at least fruit to eat off the trees. And we're getting a garden together out on the back part of the house, and we'll have hopefully vegetables. Lori's going to learn how to can, she said, and
Yeah. It's a pretty
then
good thing to learn to be able to preserve stuff. And I just recently got into the freezer and pulled out some milk that I had put in there during COVID time. And my daughter's like, "How long can you freeze milk?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Let me Google it." And it said 3 months is best, but you can store it up to 6. And it's been years. And I thawed it out and it smelled fine. But when I was pouring it into the drain, it was not good.
clumps.
Yeah, it was
Get
bad. So get your dry stuff if you can, cause or get a cow. I don't know.
a cow, exactly, or a goat or something, whatever your
Yeah.
preference is. But yeah, I don't like to be a downer in these programs and stuff, but I feel that I have these abilities for a purpose, and that purpose is to tell people things that I've been shown and told about, and that's what I'm trying to do. Plus, um, I help people in other ways in my readings. Um, I tell people what to expect, and most of the time, thank goodness, I'm able to tell them about their jobs, so whether they're going to get employed. I can see them sitting at their desk working almost, and I can tell them whether they're going to be a nurse or whatever. And they say, "Well, I'm studying to be a nurse." I said, "Well, you're going to be a good one." And I I think I pick up their spirits when I give things like that, a reading to them that's decent. And I help people who wants to communicate with their loved ones who's passed. Um, I don't know if I told you this once before, but I gave this one woman a reading, and it was her grandson, and he had passed. And anyway, after the reading was over with, I she was able to talk to her grandson and communicate with him. And after it was over with, I went outside our front door to take our dogs out. At the time, I hadn't built the dog run out back, but so I took them out the front door so they could use the potty. And as I went out the door, a lot of times I stay in spirit, even after the readings, just in case. And anyway, as I went out the door, her grandson uh, told me to look to the right, and I did. And there was a big old rainbow up there. It was huge. And I've never seen a rainbow that huge before. And I said, oh, wow. He said, uh, that's for making my grandmother happy. I'm
Oh,
sorry. But I thought that was, they can show gratitude to us who helps them communicate with their loved ones. So I think I'm doing good in that way too. Uh, I wasn't able to use my abilities when I was working and in school and stuff like that very much um, because the way people are. So I made up my mind since I retired. Uh, I don't care what they say. Let them talk. you know.
yeah, I feel you there because, like, I dealt with bullying. Like, I thought these things that I had witnessed and experienced as a child were super epic and special. And so I'd share it with who I thought were my friends. But then, they treat you like you're crazy, you're an outcast, like even as a child, and you think they'd be more understanding. So I'd have to get like really, really close to someone before I would start to share that, and I stayed in the paranormal closet till 2012. And you know there was a mother whose son had gone missing. The father had actually taken his life. But that's when I came out. I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore what anybody says or thinks. Like, I really need to come out and help this woman. And I'm glad I did. It was very freeing. And like you said, we're helping people. And we get blessed in different ways, and like you said, that rainbow being shown to you by the grandson to thank you for helping to relieve or whatnot, this mother or grandmother or whatnot. It's really awesome. It can be really hard at times, but it's a pretty cool thing.
I didn't know that they could control the weather even,
Hmm.
because it was sunny out. It wasn't even raining here, but off in the distance there was like storm clouds and then this big old huge uh, rainbow, and I thought it was cool. Uh, but yeah, and then I'm also a healer, a spiritual healer, and people might think it's stupid or dumb, but or it's fake, but it's not. I've healed a lot of people. Uh, I remember this one where I used to live. This one lady who lived in our neighborhood. I call it a neighborhood. It was very rural. But anyway, she called up and called my late wife at the time. She uh, told my wife that her daughter had just gotten into a car accident and that she was in the hospital on life support. She wanted to know if I could go down and give her a blessing. Come to find out, they were at a bar. I think this was a Saturday night, probably Saturday night, and they got in an argument, her and her boyfriend, and she took off and jumped into his Jeep and was going to drive away on it, and he wasn't going to let her do that, so he jumped in too, and they were arguing and fighting, and I guess and the road that they were coming down is was very windy and it had a lot of dips in it and everything. And they were going pretty fast, and they lost control and the Jeep rolled over. I don't know how many times it threw her out of the Jeep for sure. I think he was all right, or only had to stay in the hospital for a bit of time. But anyway, I said sure, and I went over to the hospital. I consider myself clergy, and because I do faith work for people that's in hospitals. I used to. I don't do so much now. But when I went in to see her, I took a friend with me. He helped me. But when I walked in there in the uh, this room, she had machines all around her, and she was on life support. And uh, I went up, I anointed her with olive oil, and I, I didn't know where I was going to put olive oil, and she had a little spot on her forehead where I was able to, and then I just laid my hand on her shoulder, someplace I forget where, but uh, I the only thing I could think of, my mind went blank. The only thing I could think of was to call her by her name, and then I told her uh, to follow the directions of the doctors and to work hard or something. And I also told her that for her to come out of um, her what was it? What's it called? I can't think anymore.
Coma?
Coma, yeah, the coma. She was in a coma. Told her to come out of her coma, and that things were going to be all right. And I commanded her in the name of Jesus Christ to do this. And anyway, I didn't hear anything the rest of the day. And the next morning, got up and she called my wife again. She was crying, all upset because she said the doctors was going to take her daughter off life support. And so I told my wife, I said, well, tell her, don't worry about it. She's not going to die. I don't know why I'm so uh,
Emotional. I think it's just
I
like
don't know.
the Holy Spirit or whatever, like I get like that too, and I feel like sometimes it's the dumbest things, but like when it touches you like that, it's really hard to keep that back, and I don't think you should. It doesn't make you any less of a man or human being or whatever. I think it's a really good thing to have.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, uh, I told her, I said, well, tell her doesn't doesn't matter. Tell her to let the doctors do it because she's not going to die. Anyway, um, she didn't die after they took her off life support, and she did come out of her coma. I don't know if she did before or after they took her off life support, but the thing of it is, she lived. And last I heard, she moved over to California, and she had like 4 kids, got married, had 4 kids. So, you know, uh, the only
I'm
thing I
hoping
can,
hoping she got rid of that boyfriend.
tell you, I'm pretty sure she did. But anyway, yeah, when you when something happens like that, you have a hand in it. It's you cannot deny God. That's all there is to it. People like to think that us mediums are instruments of the devil. They think that we worship the devil, that we don't believe in God, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. So anyway, I gotta get off this.
And I believe in that as well. I believe that. Sorry, I don't know why this sound is doing this, but I believe that we were given these gifts for a reason, and we're meant to use them.
Exactly. We're supposed to use it.
Hmm.
The old saying, use it or lose it. That's the way I feel. If you
Hmm.
don't do a reading for a long time, don't you feel like when you get another one, you're going, you know, you wonder if you can do it or whatever. Again, that's the way I get sometimes. If I don't have a reading or use my priesthood or my uh, abilities, if I don't use them for a while, sometimes I think I'm losing them, and uh, so I know that saying is true also. Use it or lose it. So, but anyway, over the years, like I said, my abilities are getting
Licked my
stronger and
hand multiple
stronger.
times, punched me in the head, and kept on
And
beating me
then
up when
one
I
night
got
I
up.
went to
Yes,
bed
you did.
and
You're not
I
listening.
had another
Listen.
astral
Mom,
projection.
this is
Except this time I
okay,
went to
Mom.
hell.
But you
And
twist my hand. No,
hell was a completely different place than where I was before, that's for sure. It said in the Bible that, it compares hell to fire and brimstone and stuff like that. But when I was there, uh, it's all emotions, feelings. Excuse me, please. But it's all emotions and feelings. When I was in the paradise there, it's all the good feelings, love and kindness and generosity, everything. It was there, but in hell it's completely different. All you feel is anger and hatred and fear and all the negative emotions, and they go right straight through you, just like the good emotions go straight through you when you're in at paradise there. And what scared me was I was on this path. It was like a gravel path. It was about 8 foot across, 10 foot across, something like that. And I had about four, I think it was four shadow people behind me, and they were dancing around behind me. So I was kind of fearful about what they were going to do. And as I progressed along the trail, I wanted to go. I wanted to see where it ended. Uh, I wanted to get out of there. Um, but as I walked along this trail, there was buildings on both sides of the trail, this path, and the buildings they were like 3 stories high, 4 stories high, and they had windows in them. Windows about every 6 foot there was a window. And I couldn't understand because it was dark down there. You could barely see in front of your hand. And places where the windows were at was even darker. And I couldn't understand why anybody would want to put windows in a place like that. But as I progressed, and now another talk show, this guy called in. It was another guy. He says, "Well, you called those buildings. You didn't know what they were, or why they had the buildings there." He said the Bible compares hell as a prison. He said, "Do you think that that could be a prison?" As I thought about it, I thought, "Yeah, it could be." And maybe that's where the really bad spirits are being held. But I wasn't in there; I was on the outside. And anyway, I continued walking along this path, and all of a sudden, I saw this spirit off to the right, a male spirit, and he wanted me to come closer to him. And I went over as close to him as I could without getting on off the trail, off the path. I didn't feel it would be wise of me to go off the path for anything there. So anyway, I got as close as I can, and he says, "Come closer." And I said, "No, I'm not going to." I said, "What do you want?" He said, "Come closer." And I said, "No, I can't, and I'm not going to." I said, "What do you want?" He come to find out in the course of the conversation, he he wanted me to get him out of there. When I told him I couldn't do that, he wanted me to relieve some of the pain that he was in, uh, relieve some of those emotions that he had. And I said, "No, I can't do that either. You got yourself in here, now you got to get yourself out." Uh, I found out that I had uh, dealings with him when he was alive. His wife would have like a really bad headache. She was in a traffic accident or something, and I don't know. She'd get a really bad headache about maybe once or twice a week, it seemed like. And she would call me up and ask me to come over and give her a blessing to relieve the pain. And so I did that. But he was her husband, and he was really a dick. I'm sorry. You got to call things the way they are. And he was a dick. He'd answer the door and wouldn't even say hi or anything. And I'd tell him, I'm here to see your wife, give her a blessing. He'd open the door and then he'd just take off for the kitchen or someplace. But he wasn't around me, and I thought, thank goodness. But it was him, come to find out. He didn't want nothing to do with me back then. I had a feeling he thought I was a fly-by-night or a fake. And now all of a sudden, here he is wanting me to help him. And I told him, I said, what you done on your own. Now you have to get yourself out. I found out that he was fearful because he had killed a man in this life. And he was afraid that guy was down there now. And that's one thing people's got to learn, that if you go to hell or to heaven, you're going to meet people that you knew in this life. If you kill somebody on the street because you're mad at them or whatever, man, you're just signing your ticket to go someplace where you're going to be fearful because that guy is going to be there or whatever. And they're going to work you over probably every day they see you. So, it's as something to think over, before you do things like that. I know there's a hell because I was there and I saw it.
Right.
Anyway, after
on that note, Alan, I hate to interrupt, but we do have to go to our first music break. And this break is a little less than 15 minutes, and then we'll be right back after that. Awesome. All right, so on this break, let's see, let me fix this. How do I do this? There we go. On this break, we're actually going to be listening to King Cinnamon, who's from Biafra, Nigeria, and he's going to be singing Fantastic, as well as, let me look here, Al Emote Elderella, and then we have Hosby Bronx, who originally is from Jamaica, but also goes to the Bronx in New York, and so he goes back and forth, and he's actually got some original members from Bob Marley's band, Bob Marley and the Wailers. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
We like my water bam bam. King Cinnamon. Oh shit, baddest. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Mama, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Mama, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Put your brother, baby, gather something. Come on closer, baby, gather 19. I know you brother, but I am the king. Your backside bigger than Bombay. Baby girl, broncotum. I like the way you whine your broncotum. Baby girl, broncotum. I like the way you whine your broncotum. Jamaica, Ghana, shout out to the ladies in Asia, Nigeria, South Africa. Say me love you. Please me, baby. Yeah. Turn up from you. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Give me love, give me love. Show me love, show me love. Oh, give me love, give me love. Me want you, me love you. Give me love, give me love. Oh, give me love, give me love. Hey, please me, baby. Oh. Yeah, turn up from you. Yeah, shake your bum bum anywhere you day. Blow your bum bum, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bum bum anywhere you day. Blow your bum bum, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. King Cinema. You know what I'm saying?
We spot on the mix. Lift it all. Babylon make you suffer. Babylon make you suffer. What you desire? Strong life. We are ready to fight.
We spoke on speak.
Kanyi kele Chineke makwa na limo mbunde njem ọnụ. Kanyi kele onye nwụwa imakwa na limo mbunde njem ọnụ. Alimo, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo, alimo state, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo, alimo state, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo. Democracy merelo, ndime merelo, alimo, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo, alimo state, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo. Democracy merelo, ndime merelo, alika marama, ebere marama, ofa no marama, yes lady marama, excellency, emeka hidio hamma, emeka hidio hamma, omenka unanya hidio hamma, omenka unanya wa, emeka neki modima, emeka modima, emeka puta no boy, oh yeah, wa wulenu, emeka puta no boy, o koma dima, we mewe mposo, emeka neki modima, emeka neki modima, ndem jejemba, jejemba, ndem jemano, deputy governor Imo State Chirike, Gerard Ronna Ikaraka, Wokoma Dima, Warabo, deputy governor Wile Deregema, Alukuta Deregema, Alimo State Deregema, Ala Nigeria Maragema, Onye Jemano, Stanley Wamuche Karaka, Stanley Onye Babamba, President Good Life Foundation Chirike, President General, Senate Group of Companies, President General, Financial Matter Karaka, Alowere Diregima, Alambise Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Onye Jemano, Franklin Neji Shirike, Meme Arabido Hotels, ABC Transport Karaka, Alowere Diregima, Alambise Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Uchonyago Chande, Honorable Wokoma Dima, Onye Horo Nyagele Yao, Mawugi, Ginando Tugio, Mawunule, Mtijigari Jinala, Imo State Yo, Mawugi, Ginando Tugio, Mawunule, Minigari Zonala, Imo State Yo, Alowere Diregima, Alowere Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, the German, Orange Drugs Limited, Jisa Anthony Ifani Chubundu Business and Ishirike, Ikenga Dichele, pride of his people, most outstanding one, Okoma Marama, Iborabo, Alowere Diregima, Alijato Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Honorable Jogwagu Shirike, Honorable Bina Shirike, Jere Labosa Shirike, Tochukwo Kereke Shirike, Okahube Shirike, Injina Beninati Shirike, Onyamana Construction, Wokoma Dima Ikaraka, Onye Shibore Heborani, kumpa ikaraka ezi wa mama Mr. Ludiriwa Moko meje jemba CEO Lisa Ventures ikaraka democracy merielo ndi me merielo democracy merielo Thank God I'm from Imo State. Emeka has come to rejuvenate. Imo State, make you jubilate, make you celebrate. Emeka Chikwen be say, this one no be say them say. Emeka has come to rejuvenate. Imo State, celebrate, make you jubilate. Ala mekele His Excellency Achikudenwa. Mekele kwa His Excellency Dr. Hakim. Kemaka Right Honorable BDK, Nekelekwa Right Honorable Jones Oyereri, Ala Mekele Senator Onyebuchi Mr. Empowerment, Nekelekwa Right Honorable Emeka Chinedu, Umo Mimo Lowali Bamezena Alima Dilama.
Cliffito.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight, we are joined by Mr. Alan Wright. Welcome back, Alan, and thanks so much for hanging out with us and sharing your experiences and stories. It's been awesome.
I love it. I like to talk about experiences that I've had in my lifetime. Are we back on, ready?
Yep, we're back on and ready to go. I did share a link down below. We had a person in YouTube that wanted to come in. I think he had some questions or comments or whatnot, but he left because I didn't let him in soon enough because I told him we'd come back from break and then we'd get to that. But yeah, continue on with what you were talking about. I believe the last thing you were saying was about heaven and hell, and you'd actually been there and you were about to carry on with that story.
Yeah. Well, anyway, after it was almost time-wise, it was the same as what it was when I went to Paradise. After I had told him I wasn't going to help him, and there was nothing I could do for him, he had to get out of there on his own. That all of a sudden I was back in my bed. And I woke up at the time that I was supposed to wake up. I know for a fact I wasn't there that as long as I was in Paradise. When I went to Paradise, when I got up in the morning, I felt like I stood before God. And actually, I think I did. I think I stood before Jesus because I saw him just before I blacked out. I blacked out twice that I know of. But actually, I don't think I blacked out. I think my memory was erased because I was not supposed to come to Earth and tell certain things until it was time to. If I had come back and told people everything that I saw and everything that was told to me where I went, I don't think all that information, for one thing, probably would shut me down, overload my brain. But I do get bits and pieces of information and stuff like that about what happened when I was there. And when I came back, like I said, I felt like I stood before God. And I felt like I was glowing. It had that effect on me. And I had that for a couple weeks where I just felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. I was someplace where I wasn't supposed to be. But I had to go to work every day and I had to do my job, After a couple of weeks, that feeling wore off. But it was the same way in hell. And instead of having all those good emotions, I had all those bad emotions. And I I came back with those emotions, and I was quick tempered. I was angry. Seems like all the time. I was curt to my wife, and and I really had to work to get over that stuff when I came back from that place. You can ask my wife. She thought I was not able to live with me, you know. But anyway, it lasted for a couple of weeks, and then it was gone too. But I was I thought of something when we were on break. You know, the way things are going in these cities and stuff. You know, with the all riots and people killing each other. They seem to be killing each other in places where there's a lot of people, schools and malls and, you know, theaters and stuff like that. And if you're a sensitive, that's a bad place to be. You don't want to be in a whole group of people. I know I can't go to Walmart. My wife leaves me out in the car because there's so many different emotions inside that store. Sometimes I came out of that store and I wanted to kill somebody. You know, that was all bad.
Yeah, I have to say, I used to love before COVID when Walmart would be open 24/7 because then you could go at certain times when it wasn't jam packed. But yeah, I totally feel what you're saying there.
And so it got so bad that I just don't go into those places anymore. You can pick up on those feelings, and if you're really sensitive, it wouldn't take much for, say, a person that don't. The only ability they have is being a sensitive. I can imagine them taking a gun and, you know, going into some place and shooting the place up if there was some people in there or harassing them, making fun of them or something like that. Because it wouldn't take much, I don't think. So, like myself, I don't even like to live in an apartment building. We live out in the desert, the southwest of Tucson. It's a community out here, but we have acre lots, and so the closest house to us is like an acre away, you know. So that's why I like space. I like being with the animals out here. I love the desert. I grew up in the desert in north of Phoenix, and that's the way I am. I'm an empath, so I love animals. We have three little chihuahuas right now. I think one's a chihuahua mix, just really small. But we at one time we had 6 dogs, and what I love to watch the animals out here, the jackrabbits, cottontails, and the things that we have out here in the desert. We see road runners and quail, and it's really neat living out here. Being a sensitive, I think I can even pick up on their emotions also. I know when they have fear in their eyes, and I know why they're reacting to certain things that they do. But is there any other questions? Do you have any questions for me?
I was just gonna say, as far as like the desert goes and everything, the most beautiful that I saw the desert going down to Phoenix to visit my mom and sister. I don't know if it was because all the rain or snow or something that they had gotten. I think it was a lot of rain. And I think I went down there at a time where everything was blooming. I had never seen the desert in bloom, and all these wildflowers are growing. And I don't know. It was just the most beautiful that I'd ever seen the desert. And here in the Four Corners area of Colorado, like you have mountains, mesas, deserts, forests, like you can drive any direction for like 30 minutes and find whatever landscape you want to be in. But yeah, that was like so beautiful seeing all those wildflowers and everything growing. It was really epic.
Really. I think too, if you go to these communities like what we're in, what you're in, probably in. I'm not sure what that would be, but um, I'm positive you probably would find more people with abilities living in those areas, like yourself, myself, and my wife. Uh, I know a lot of people who are mediums and stuff. And they don't live in a crowded area so much, you know. Um, and the ones that do, they want to get out, you know. But uh, yeah, uh, I I was trying to think of what other things. I wish I was better prepared for this. Trying to think
Oh,
what
no
other.
worries. And I understand with you, being sick and stuff, it's really hard to be on your game. And to think of certain things because your body is just so tired from fighting whatever's going on. But yeah, for sure. I've really been enjoying hearing your stories. I did have a question as far as hell, like why did you go there and what was your experience there?
Well, I didn't know why I was there either. It was like going to see my grandfather. I didn't have anything to do with it. I was just there. I went on the trip, the journey, and there was a couple of times I was fearful because I didn't know where I was going. For instance, I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I know I was dead. I saw my body laying there on the gurney, you know, and the doctor's looking over my body, and then all of a sudden my spirit was gone out of the room. So I knew I was dead. I just was not really looking forward to see what was installed or instilled for me because, you know, I didn't know whether I was going to die and go to hell, but I was going up, 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 up. So I thought, well, I was always taught heaven was up, so I must be going to heaven. But uh, uh, hell is basically the same way. People characterize hell as being in the earth itself. I felt like I was in some type of enclosure because, well, there was no sun, there was no stars, no nothing. There was no sky. It was just all dark. So I don't know whether it was probably another dimension or something. I wasn't told where I was at. It had the ground was like earth. There was gravel and dirt and stuff on the side of the path, but there was no trees, no plants whatsoever there. You know, they tell you have to talk to your plants and sing to them and stuff like that, you know, because it helps them grow. And there wouldn't be anything that could grow there in hell. I mean, the emotions is so bad, it's just unreal. You know, when you get a bunch of hatred and greed and all those emotions going through you as a plant, you probably die with it within 5 minutes. But I was called there for some reason. I think why I was called there was because of that guy. I don't know who he knew that where he was capable of calling me to hell, but I know he's the only one that I had any correspondence with there or anything like that. The 4 shadow people that was behind me when I was talking to the spirit I was talking to, they didn't come. I didn't notice them any after I started talking to them. So I don't know whether they were still there or whether they left. They didn't harm me in any way. I was kind of fearful about that. And this guy, like I said, I had dealings with when he was alive on this earth. And apparently he died and he went to hell. And he called me there so I could help him. There's nothing I can do. When you're in hell, you go there on your own. Nobody puts you in hell. And you have to get yourself out of hell too. I saw 5 levels of hell or different dimensions of hell. There's at least 5. There could be more. But I was told, and this is something that I learned after I was there. I was told that they can get themselves out of hell, but they have to learn the rules and ordinances of the universe and the gospel, and they can move up levels. The Bible says it's forever and ever, and being in an atmosphere like that, I wouldn't doubt that a bit. It would be very hard for somebody to work their way out of hell, because I don't know how you would deal with trying to think of things that's good when you got hatred and fear and all that other stuff going through your body. I mean, it's just nonstop. And so, but you can work yourself out of it. The Bible describes it as being fire and brimstone. And I think that's mainly just because of what is there. I mean, it's almost, it probably burns like fire and brimstone after you're there for a while, because you're just lost down there. That's all there is to it. You're just lost. And when I finally told him I could not help him out of there, he was going to do it himself. All of a sudden, zap, I was back in my bed. So I don't know too many people that's been to hell that's been able to come back and talk about it. But I've been there, I can say that. I got up that morning, my wife even noticed that I was acting funny and stuff, and it was because of that experience. It was something that I would not want to experience again. My wife said I was very, very drinky. I got to do that again, she said. I don't have a choice in that. But in heaven now, I saw 9 levels of heaven, or dimensions of heaven. There might be more than them that I was not shown, but there's none less than 9. There again, you can progress up each level as you learn more about the universe, laws and ordinances and stuff like that. And each level is better than the one before. And I can't imagine that. I would rather die and just go to paradise if I could stay there all the time, because that's a very good place to go. But apparently they get better. Now, on the highest level of heaven, I was told you can become like God. And if you stop and think about it, well, people would say I'm being a harlot or something, whatever you call them, you know, the blaspheming and stuff like that. But I saw what I saw, and I was told what I was told, and you can become like God. And if you stop and think about it, if that is true, then we have a legacy that's being left to us by God. It's something worth living for, I think. Because then you can become creators. You know, the scientist even says that the universe is forever. There's no end to it. So if that's true, then you could go someplace like our own universe and create. You can create things. You can create planets just like our God did, and or whatever. Maybe that's all you want to create, and planets with it. I don't know. You have the ability to do whatever you want up there, as long as you follow the rules and ordinances of the universe. I know in the Bible it says we're sons and daughters of God, and being a son of God, or you being a daughter of God, He would want to give you the very best that He could. And that's what heaven's about. It's about us receiving good things as we move up those different levels of heaven. I guess if you don't want to move up, you wouldn't have to, but like I said, living in paradise would be just fine with me.
Yeah, and it's funny that you were talking about like the different levels and degrees of hell. And I don't know, I as a child like went to every church I could, and when I was in the military I did the same because I want to hear what people are saying and I want to learn, and I want to see what speaks to me. But from what I learned in the church that I grew up in from the age of 7 till my teen years, and then I've fallen away and come back and fallen away and come back because I'm more of a spiritual person than a religious person. But I do think that having that religious cornerstone is pretty important for, building yourself or whatnot. But they were talking about the different degrees of heaven, and supposedly there's like 3 different degrees. I think it's called telestial, terrestrial, and celestial. And like you said, you go higher and higher and higher, and all of it's like really beautiful and magnificent. But I think the highest one is being in the presence of God, as well as, like you said, being a god yourself, being able to build your own planets and make your own creatures and whatnot.
Well, see, each one of those kingdoms is like the terrestrial, celestial, and so on. Each one of them are divided into kingdoms also, or levels, dimensions. I had a guy when I was on the talk show before, he called in and asked if I called it levels, would it be like a different dimension? I said, well, yeah, that could be it. It's probably a different dimension. I mean, us being in this terrestrial world that we're in now, I guess we could be, when we die, we could pass and go into, say, another part of the terrestrial world. And maybe, earthbound spirits, maybe that's what they're in, another terrestrial type of Earth, just higher. I don't know, maybe lower, I don't know. I never gave you that any thought, but I was never told about that. But I do know earthbound spirits, they were spirits just like we were. And I don't like to go out and investigations and stuff like that, because I feel that you should respect them. And if you do it with an attitude of respect and stuff like that, it'd probably be all right. I know there's some out there that go on their investigations and they try to upset the ghost, I think. Upset the spirits. And
yeah, they antagonize them to get some sort of reaction.
Yeah. And
but I agree with you. Like, the number one rule that we use is like have the utmost respect, and we really haven't done any investigations really since COVID hit, because it's hard to get anybody together anymore. And I won't go on an investigation by myself again, because I did have a dark entity follow me home and take me over a couple times, which I did not enjoy. But yeah, it can be really scary.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about last time, where you said you had that happen. And while writing one of my books, I swear to God, an attachment. I got an attachment by writing in my book about an experience that I had. And there again, I was angry all the time. I was all mean. I was just, it was something else. And I knew I had an attachment. And I performed blessings on myself, sagings. I did all kinds of stuff. I cleansed the house about 3 times, I think it was. But I finally got it out of me. But it was something really bad. And I got it while writing. So you have to be very careful on what you do if you don't want things to happen to you. I think there's a lot of people out there that do have attachments right now. They just don't really know it.
Yeah, and people think, you do paranormal investigation. This is why this happened to you. No, you can go to a music venue. You can go anywhere. And if you have any sort of chink in your arm or, due to depression or you just had a bad experience or whatever, like they can get in. They can attach to you and follow you home or whatnot. Or like on certain cases, like I'm gifted. My family's gifted, of course. And so it's like this light beacon, and I think things come to you because they need help or want help or whatnot. And sometimes these things that show up aren't good whatsoever. And so it can be really hard. Like we've had things in our house that at night would be banging on the hallway, and you could see it walking back and forth. And one of these entities was super tall, like I would say giant stature, whatever this thing was, but it was pissed off. For the most part, they're good. We don't have too many issues, but sometimes the dark things do come in, and it's really, really hard to deal with because, like you said, like it can affect you. I think it was after that walk-in or whatever possession, could be a walk-in, whatever the heck it was. It was trying to teach me a lesson. But even Vern came home one day and he was in the shower and he said he kept having these violent thoughts of assaulting me and stuff. And he didn't know where they were coming from because he wasn't mad at me. He didn't have anything to be upset at me about, but they kept coming into his mind. And I think that was during the time that we did have that one in the hallway that just kept punching the walls and stuff.
Yeah. Well, plus they can present themselves as something that they're really not,
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm just an innocent little kid over here. You should, invite me in or, get closer to me. When it's really not.
Yeah. Or it could be like one you saw that was really big and huge. Maybe not, He was presenting himself to you that way, just to scare you and upset you.
I think that's exactly what it was. He was like, look at how big I am, because like you could see the shadow underneath the door and you could see the shadow at the top of the door just walking back and forth, and then you'd hear the occasional punches and stuff. And I think you're right. I think he was just trying to present himself as something bigger to make us afraid.
In paradise, they present themselves to you any way they want you also. They can present themselves as older than what they were when they died, or even younger. Some of the old spirits might present themselves to their. In a reading, for instance, I'll say, well, your mother looks like she's about 40 or something. No, she's about 80 or something. But that's the way they present themselves to you, And I think it's because they want to present themselves at a time when they felt the most health and when they felt good, and happy about themselves. And I think that's the way they present themselves. And I don't see any harm in it. I mean, I wouldn't want to go around, looking like an old man if I didn't have to, I'd turn my...
Yeah, I think it could be like their favorite age or the happiest time during their life or something. I don't know. Yeah. I would go back to 25 maybe. I don't know. Well, not because I was happiest, but because that was my favorite portion of myself as far as my being. But like you're talking about with heaven, like when you go to heaven, like you're whole and you're complete and you don't have to worry about health issues or disfigurements or anything like that.
Right. Everything you lost in this life, you'll get it back, an arm or a leg or whatever. So you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I do know they can do whatever they want. I have readings where they were told their whoever I was reading for that they were going fishing or whatever, and they do that stuff, and they're able to do it because they like it. If it's something they like doing in this life, they can do it in the life to come.
Yeah, and I do believe that all of us are gifted to a certain extent. It's just a matter of, like you said, use it or lose it. And a lot of people are brought up to where they can. But I was able to instruct a lady because she's like, I've always wanted to see a ghost. I never have, but yada yada. And I'm like, well, you could, be walking down the street or whatever, and there's a ghost walking past you, and it looks just like you and me, so you don't even realize it. Like, just be open to it, and if you really want to experience that, it will happen. And it was about a week later, she got back a hold of me, and she's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what just happened to me. And she went to where her child was in daycare. And as she's pulling up, she sees this old woman wearing like a muumuu or some sort of robe or whatever. And she's got brilliant white hair, and she's, walking around throughout the kids and having the grandest old time. And she walks in there and she talks to the lady, and she's like, wow, that's really cool. Like, is that your grandma or whatever? Like, it's cool that you got some help going on and you're not by yourself with all these kids. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, when I pulled up, I saw this old lady in the backyard, and she was hanging out with the kids. And she's like, I'm the only one here. And then she was looking around and she saw a picture, and she's like, that was the lady. And she's like, that's my grandma, and she passed away about like 3 years ago or whatever. So it was so awesome that I was able to help her to see. All you have to do is like open your mind, be open to things, and it can be scary, like bad things can happen, but for the most part, to me, it's amazing. And I get kind of irritated when people are like, oh, those aren't ghosts, those are demons, because, you either go to heaven or hell. Well, I don't believe that. Like, I think there's spirits that are earthbound, maybe there's unfinished business, like different things happen. But the main point of what I was talking about there was having gifts and abilities. And a lot of people, some of their first experiences are when they're sleeping. So you have a loved one that passed away and they come to you in your dream. It's very important to pay attention to that, because I think that's the easiest way for them to come through. If you're not psychically or whatever gifted or open enough to see them like on this realm, you're able to see them in the dream realm. There's so many realms like all around us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you that everything you said is true. You can't fight with truth. It's just it's true. And like you said, everything is true. It's like when I saw my great grandmother in a casket. I found out later she died in 1948, a year before I was born. And she wanted me to know that she was my grandmother, that's great grandmother. And that's how she did it, Kind of weird, but she was able to do it. And I had the ability where I could pick up on it, And part of that is, like you said, keep an open mind about things. I'm going to tell you something now. I hope you got an open mind for. When I was there, like I said, I could have been there for 20 years. But my ancestors was mixed in with a group of extraterrestrials, aliens, if you want to call them that. The only thing is, they're us. They're people just like us. And I was told they're on Earth today. They're walking around now, like you said. You can walk right by them and not know. And even the Bible says, beware for you might entertain an angel, not know it. And that's, I don't know how many angels I probably entertain, if you want to call it that. But yeah, they're walking around us now. And they're doing a lot of things to bring this, what's ever happening, to fulfillment. Prophecy in the Bible. That's their main thing. I don't like calling them aliens because they're not. They're not. They're us. And if you stop and think about it, they're probably the ones that made us. Well, God did it. But even in the book of Genesis, it talks about God and creating the earth, and everything. And then all of a sudden he says, let us go down and make man in our own image. World, what is that? So there had to
I
be.
think that is, I believe we have a heavenly father and we have a heavenly mother. And she's really not talked about because, yeah, look at how we use the Lord's name in vain. Like, oh my gosh, or whatever. Like, we use the Lord's name in vain all the time. When we're going through hard times, sometimes we'll hate on him. Like, how dare you? How could you do this to me? He doesn't want that for his wife. So he doesn't mention her, but I do believe she exists. But you could be on to something with the whole angel thing, too.
Yeah, exactly. In actuality, I think there was a lot of angels that have taken human form to get the experience. I think a lot of times the baby, when it's born, only lives for a little bit and then dies. You think how terrible, how rotten, and how can God permit something like this to happen? But I actually feel that they come in to receive their physical body, and that's all they had to do. That's the only thing they had to do was receive their physical body. Now they can go and be part of the resurrection, and, get the new body and everything. I do know that women who lose their children too, they get to go and finish raising them. We're in family groups, and that's what God created. He created them for a purpose, and that purpose was for us to. It was for strength, for one thing. We're stronger in a group, in a family, and then without them, my family hates my guts now. And I talk about it, but I'm talking so other people will know, because you can be stronger in a family group, especially what's coming down the tubes right now. If this World War III gets going and we come up with food shortages and stuff like that, you could have one member of the family take care of the garden and another one take care of the fruit trees, or stuff like that, and divide up the work and do one person or two people do the scanning and stuff like that, and you could become strong, and you could probably survive what's coming down. Rather than if you're by yourself. One thing I was really sad about is when I had a single people call me and want me to give them a reading during COVID. They were in isolation, and they were lonely. They were really, really lonely. And I thought that's really bad, Here they are, they couldn't go to work, they couldn't do anything. Everything was closed down there for a while. All they could do was watch TV, I guess, and whatever. But if you're alone in an apartment by yourself, you don't have much to do. And they were calling me for a reading to see if their life was going to be changing any. And fortunately, I didn't have to tell anybody that they were going to die. I don't like to give readings that's way far out there. I try to keep my readings within 2 to 5 years. And I'll tell them, well, I don't see, you getting COVID, or I don't see anything bad happening to you. And I tell them it's within 2 to 5 years what I'm looking at. Because I'm not going out. Anybody that tells you that 25 years from now you're going to be doing this and this and that, I don't really think anybody can do that, because we have our free will,
Yeah, and we can change our decisions. We can choose to do this instead of this, and whatever. Like, things can change within, a snap of the finger or whatnot. we can change our minds. We can make different decisions. Free agency, huge thing. And it's for a reason. So I'm glad you do that because, like, I don't know, you could be talking about 25 years from now and I could be like, maybe that's other dimensional me. I don't know. I don't think that's me. But yeah, that's too far out.
Well, 2 to 5 years, you can probably stay the way you are. I can tell somebody they're on their life path, doing what they're supposed to be doing and everything. But in 20, 25 years, they might do a completely change of habit or whatever, and possibly could see it, but do I want to say that they killed somebody or, or they were in a car accident and was killed or something? I just don't do that. I keep it kind of 2 to 5 years. And usually it's pretty good. I did it during COVID when it was really bad. I did have a couple of readings where I had to tell one lady that one of her family members was going to get COVID, possibly die. I never found out what happened for sure because she never called back. But I had to give another one where I told this one lady that her neighbor was going to die. And I found out when you give readings to people, you're most generally telling them about people they're close to or they associate with, And so when I was wondering why I told that one woman that her neighbor was going to die, but that's the reason why she was close to that lady or the neighbor. And I wanted her to let her know so maybe she could help her in some way or something, But
yeah, give her some extra attention and love, and I don't know, you just reminded me of my neighbor, Mr. Staley. Like, after all these years, I still remember his name, and he was always alone and stuff, and I'd go over there and try to volunteer, like, is there anything I can do to help you? And I did that with a lot of my neighbors. I'd rake their yard or help them clean their house or whatnot, because, I don't know, like you're saying, a lot of your family members, for whatever apparent reason, maybe it's because of your gifts and they don't agree with you or whatnot, but have kind of shunned you. And there's different reasons for everybody where you feel like you've fallen away or your family's fallen away from you. And it's really sad. So it's nice to have a neighbor or somebody come over and help you and give you some love or just that human connection. Like, it's so important, being a human being, to have that human connection. Something besides just watching Jeopardy or whatever else. But yeah, on that note, Alan, we do have to go to our second music break. When we get back, I know you're not feeling well, but would you be open to do some readings?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go big screen, but you're still gonna be there, so don't go anywhere.
Okay.
But so on this break, we go back to having Mr. Cosney Bronx, who is originally from Jamaica and also lives in the Bronx in New York. He's got Bob Marley and the Wailers, original group members in his band. Like, to me, that's awesome. I love Bob Marley. I feel like he was one of the greatest prophets in our lifetime at this point. But yeah, he's got some of those peeps with him. He's going to be singing Free Child and Dance as a Lion. And then we have King Cinnamon from Biafra, Nigeria with Rosie. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Who decided this life for?
Funky on the beat.
Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. All my men, they wear out. All my guys, they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. All my men, they wear out. All my guys, they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Mukomukeji, go bere muketa. Oya mukomukeji, oya bere muketa. Daddy mu ekon, omo ni pe mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi fisi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy saucy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy kosi kosi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy turn him pussy, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy and his baby, them dey for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl dey holla. Now daddy begin the open the shirt collar. Now something come out. Daddy begin the suck am. Daddy mu ekon, omo ni pe mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi fisi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy saucy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ́ ẹjọ́. All my men they wear out. All my guys they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. All my men they wear out. All my guys they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boost, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Kissy, kissy, amani, ejo. Daddy saucy, saucy, amani, ejo. Daddy kosi, kosi, amani, ejo. Daddy kahe kosi, amani, ejo. Daddy contact, amani, ejo. Daddy comfort, daddy consist, amani, ejo. Daddy can eat, daddy 120, amani, ejo. Daddy 18, daddy 240, amani, ejo. Daddy 360. Daddy and the baby, them there for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl they holla. Daddy begin the open the shirt collar. Something come out. Daddy begin the sucker. Daddy mu eko, omo ni pe mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi fisi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy saucy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ́ ẹjọ́. All my men they wear out. All my guys they wear out. Imarama, 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 Imarama.
Oh yeah, it's funky on the beat.
unite and chant the word people in love. People in love. People in love. People in love. Yeah. Humanity won't protect humanity. We have to save people from poverty. We don't want your frustration. We don't want your ambush Babylon.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we have Mr. Alan Wright, and he's been sharing his epic experiences and helping to enlighten us all. Welcome back, Alan, and thanks so much for hanging out with us.
I enjoy
Sorry,
it.
you're. Me too, and sharing certain stories. So I had a sort of hellacious experience. I didn't go to hell, but I was okay. So it was after my mom was killed by a drunk driver. I was 5, almost 6. My dad had a really hard time with that, being a single dad, and he had to work and et cetera, et cetera. He ended up sending us to our grandparents for a visit. And it was my mom's parents, and then he never sent for us again. And I just want to share this with you really quick. I did share our link so people can come in and ask for a reading, but we can probably start out with me if you want to. You can do a reading for me, and that would be awesome. But yeah, I was laying in bed. I've always had issues with sleeping, and I think it's due to my paranormal experiences. And so I'm laying in bed trying to get to sleep. You know, my mind is very active, and so it's hard. But I saw this light come through my window. Well, we're out in the middle of the boonies in northwest Arkansas, in Pettigrew, Arkansas, and I saw this light coming through my window, and I was like, what the heck? Like, there is the barn light or whatever, but it's not that bright. You could see it just like kind of flickering or whatever. And then all of a sudden you could see shadows. And so I crept down my bed because the window was at the foot of my bed. And I kind of peeked around the window to see what the heck was going on out there. And what I saw really blew my mind. I saw these little critters. The closest I could tell you that they looked like were gremlins. So not the mogwai, not the furry, cute little thing, but the ones with the slick skin and the big ears and everything. The ears were a little bit reduced. They weren't as big as gremlin ears. They were a little smaller. And they're dancing around this fire. And they're chanting. Some of them have spears. Some of them have daggers. Some of them are playing on drums and stuff. And they're chanting something. I can't hear what or understand what they're saying. I can hear what they're saying, but I don't understand it. And all of a sudden it's like, boom, like even the drums, the chanting, everything. Isn't that beautiful, Sandra? Everything stopped all at once. Then they looked my direction, and I was like, holy shnikes. Slam myself back in bed, and like you said, like, you pull up that curtain of protection, so whether it's your sheet or your blanket or whatever, I pulled that up. It's like right here, because, I don't know, I need to see what's going on, but everything else is covered. I see the shadows getting bigger because these things are coming closer. Then I hear the clawing on the wall. And I'm going to mute you really quick just because the echo thing. And then, I just have to tell you, Sandra said, hi, Alan. But yeah, they're scratching up the wall. You could see them like peering in the window and stuff like that. And they're looking around, and I'm just like holding my breath at this point. Like, please don't see me. Please don't see me. Please don't see me. And then they went away, and you could hear them like scramble down the wall. And it's funny because my grandparents built this house. They got this house that they ordered from a JCPenney's catalog. Believe it or not, they used to have houses online or to order back in the day. And so my grandparents did that, and it was like covered in, it looked like what would be ceiling or roof tiles, but it's on the side of the house. So it's green colored roof tiles. But anyways, I could hear them scratching down, and the direction they were going was to my brother's room. And I was just like, at that point, not thinking about what's happening to my brother. I was just like, thank God they left. Thank God they didn't do anything to me. Hi, Willow. Then when I finally went to sleep, I had the most, I would say amazing, but to me it was a freaking scary nightmare. So it seemed so real. It seemed like real life. My bed is tilting up. It's going up like this, and I'm sliding down the bed. And the only thing that keeps me from going into this hole, which this hole had opened up at the base of my bed, fire, brimstone, you could smell the sulfur, and you could hear screaming. And I'm just sliding down the bed. The only thing to keep me from falling in that hole was to put my thumbs at the baseboard. Well, this bed, like the mattress is here, then there's the under mattress or the box springs. It's low, so I have to like dig down low and put my thumbs in there to keep from falling in. And then I wake up and I'm just thinking, because I've had repetitive dreams before. I think the one that I had for years was a past life sort of thing where I fell off a beam on a crane building a skyscraper. I think it was New York. I think that was my past life memory that just kept replaying every night. But yeah, I woke up and I was just like, that was a really messed up dream, and it really blew my mind, and I hope I don't have to go through that again like this other dream. And then all of a sudden I smelled smoke again, but instead of smelling like the sulfur or the fire and brimstone, whatever that smell was, I smelled cherry tobacco. And so I slowly turned my head to the right. I had a door, but I didn't have a door. I had a door frame with yellow curtains going down, and they were tied back, and I saw this man standing in my doorway. And I was like, is that my grandpa? And then I noticed he was taller than my grandpa. My grandpa is pretty tall, but not that tall. And then he lifted up and put to his mouth a cigar. And when he hit that cigar, the ember from that cigar lit up this area of him. And I could see his face, his hair, and what he was wearing. And this man was wearing a very nice tuxedo. His hair was slicked back, very full. And he was the most gorgeous man I ever saw. And I knew who it was immediately. I knew that was the devil or Satan or whatever you want to call him. That was the ruler of hell. And due to my nightmares, my dad told me to say, God stands before me, Satan fall behind. And I said that, not even out loud. I said it in my head. Because I don't know. I don't think I was sleep paralysis, but I was so afraid I couldn't speak. But I said it in my head, and just like that, I was out. There was nothing else after that. And then, as I had mentioned, my siblings, so my mom was married twice. My 3 older siblings went with their dad. Me and my brother went with our dad. Then we got sent to our grandparents. But we all got back together once my dad bought a house and was feeling better. I guess he called us back, and we're just sitting there telling ghost stories and everything. And I told this story, and he said, before he even said anything, he turned white as a sheet. And I was like, Dad, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? And he's like, your mother told me the same exact story, but she actually saw him right next to her bed, and they had a very lengthy conversation. And so she didn't really say what they talked about or anything, but when she got hit by that drunk driver, so we lived in Siloam Springs at the house. She went to the store. They went to get like munchies and stuff. And then they're pulling out this guy, whose dad was like the district attorney or whatever, went to a bachelor party the night before and ended up hitting her. I wanted to go with her. She wouldn't allow me to. She knew this is how she was going to die. She just didn't know when. But I think she had a feeling it was going to be on that day because she wouldn't allow me to go with her. And I begged and pleaded, and she's like, no. And she dropped me off at my friend's house. When she did, Kathy and her friend Tracy went with her, and Tracy got her finger severed somehow, and then Kathy had her hip broken, but she actually ran about 2 blocks or whatever, I would say a block, to the payphone and made a phone call to my dad and to where I was staying at the moment and said, you know, we just got in this accident, yada, yada, yada. She doesn't remember any of this. But one of the things that she did say that really creeped me out, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, but she said when they were going to turn out from where that curb was, it was a nice slanted curve, where that store was, which is now shut down, but they still have oddities in there. Like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. I got pictures of it. But she said there was a limousine there and a very handsome man in a tuxedo standing right next to it. So I think it was him coming back for my mom. But yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, my dad's saying that my mom had that same experience in the very same room because I was sleeping in her room that she lived in as a child. Like, that really creeped me out.
Being having abilities, being a medium and everything, I think we all probably have problems sleeping. I used to have, if I got 3 hours of sleep at night, I was doing good. When we lived in that haunted house, that was like trying to sleep in a circus almost. I had that banshee, I called her a banshee, running up to me and squealing in my ears at night and wake me up from a dead sleep. You know, and all I wanted to do was like jump up ready to fight somebody, you know, there's nobody there. And, but once we had a house blessed and almost everything was cast out, it was better to sleep in. We still had shadow people in the hallway, but they didn't act like they were going to hurt us in any way. They just danced back and forth between the wall and the hallway. And they acted like they were just watching us, like they were trying to see what we're doing. All we're doing is sleeping, so I hope they had a good time, you know, but yeah, I think most people that have abilities do have problems sleeping, and that was one of mine for as far as back as I can remember. You know, you were talking about your mother, and your mother did come in, and she is standing beside me. She wanted me to tell you that she loves you, and that she has always loved you. She's telling me the guy in the dark suit there, he didn't take her any place because she's in a good place.
Yeah, and it's funny because, can I interrupt for a second? I hate to because I know you're reading me right now, but when my sister got into a certain car accident, her friend at the very same time was in the shower and had this revelation, and it was my mom, and it was like in a court setting, and my mom was pleading for my sister's life. So I do feel like she's in heaven, but I think she's in a lower level. So I do think she escaped him, but I kind of feel like we have a family curse. You know what I'm saying?
You probably do. I think a lot of us mediums are cursed. We seem to piss off the bad spirit for some reason. I don't know why. I guess because we're good and they're bad. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we're cursed. We just went through 3 years of hell, you know, pretty much. Finances and otherwise, you know, but we're in a place now that we're okay here. We're doing really good. But I think we're doing good, aren't we?
I think so. Feels pretty good.
And she's laughing.
That's a good sign. I'll take that as a thumbs up.
Yeah. But your mother, she knows that you had problems with her being in that crash, and that those problems bothered you for a long time. And she knows that a lot of the moves that you made in your life was based on what you felt and the things that you were going through because of her dying in that wreck. And she just wants to tell you that she's in a good place now. She also wants me to tell you to stay on your life path because she's proud of you and she's proud of the things that you're doing. She also said that you're going to be going through a change here soon. She's not telling me what it is, but she wants me to tell you to be prepared for it, that something's coming down and you'll be going through a change. She's telling you might know what it is. She's also saying that she loves your family and that she wished that you guys could be closer together also. I don't know why she said that, but that's what she said. She also says that she's saying that all in all, she's very happy with you and your family, and that she's telling me again that she loves you. She wants you to remember the good times that you had with her. You and her were close, weren't you? Yeah. She's telling me that too. She's telling me that
She was a very big part of me. Like, I used to watch her paint and I used to watch different things. But there was a lot of bad things that happened as far as, like, one of my memories was there was a gun pulled out. And I think it was my mom pulled it out. And her and my dad were fighting. And come to find out later on, they were fighting because my mom was representing or defending my molester. And my dad was there defending us. And a lot of the kids in the family didn't know why they were fighting. They didn't know because they didn't make it known. But he was fighting for us. And she was allowing or trying to put aside this stuff. And I do truly believe that she came to me as a bird a couple times. Once was a robin, once was a magpie. And they just looked at me like this because, you know, they have this certain vision, but looked at me like this. Like, are you okay? Do you forgive me? I don't know. Like, once I realized what the hell really happened, because I used to wish on the North Star all the time that it was my dad that died instead of my mom because I miss my mom so much. But my dad's the one that stood up for us and tried to defend us. And she's the one that defended them. So I don't understand it because I have kids too. And I would protect them no matter what. So for her to do that with her family, I am angry with her because I've learned a lot of stuff. But I know that was her as a bird, like, are you okay? No, Mom, I'm not. I'm very, very mad right now. I'm very upset. So I hope she understands that because I'm very upset with her. And I know as humans, we make mistakes. But that was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah. She knows that stuff did cause you problems, like I said in the beginning of the reading. And she's sorry about that, but she is proud of you. And she wants you to. I'm trying to. You know, when you do a reading, a lot of times they speak to you, a lot of times they just give you signs or something or feelings.
Or pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, pictures. And your mother is actually showing me the car wreck that she was in. And there was no way that she was going to survive that accident. And she told me that she told you to stay home on purpose, that you were right.
She knew, had I gone with her, I would have died too. And she's like, no, you can't go. But she allowed Kathy and Tracy to go because she knew they'd be okay. Like, they might be hurt a little, but they wouldn't die. Like, I would have died.
She's telling me, though, one reason why she wanted you to stay home is you had other things you had to do. You had to experience more life experiences and stuff. And that's one reason why you stayed home, why she had you stay home. And she's telling me right now you still have more life experiences to experience. She's telling me that you're going to be going through some things now. And for you to realize that it's stuff that you have to go through. And once you go through it, you'll know that you are stronger for doing it, and you become wiser. She's telling me.
Yeah, I can see that, and I'm kind of worried, like, what is it? I have a little small idea as far as what it is, but I think life happens for a reason. It's a gift, and we need to appreciate it and love it, but no matter how good or bad it is, it's a learning process. So it's there for us to learn and grow stronger.
Yeah. Anyway, she's kind of backing off now. She wanted me to tell you that she does love you. And she's around you all the time, she says. You don't feel her all the time, but she is around you all the time.
I do, but sometimes I'm just like, get back, bitch. No, I don't know. Because I am upset, and I kind of get it because I'm married to a person that's just like her. They have that clan mentality. Like, the clan comes first. What's the clan? Oh, that's my family. What about the one that you made? What about the one you created? That should be more important than any of the above. But yeah, kind of the same thing.
Well, that probably has something to do with the change you're going through. That's a feeling I got.
So I was wondering, because I've seen my dad a few times in my dreams, and each time I see him, he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. First time he was sitting because he couldn't walk. Second time he's walking around with his shillelagh. And then third time he was even stronger. Like, he looked better. Every time I see him, he looks better and better. And he really kind of killed himself with alcohol because my mom died, and that's how he was trying to drown his sorrows. But I think he's coming back from that. And it sucks because every time I see him in a dream, he doesn't speak to me like my mother has, because I know she's more spiritually awakened. So she's got this down to a hitch. But are you picking up on anything from my dad?
Oh, not tonight.
He's so quiet. I wish maybe we could play some Jeopardy and he'd spout up, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I wish he would say something to me.
One thing I want to tell you that you can prepare for your life to come right now. Any bad habits that you have, try to get over before you pass. Because if you smoke, you're going to have a desire for cigarettes once you go past. If you drink alcohol and you're addicted to it, you're going to be addicted to it on the other side, but you can't get any. It's going to be going cold turkey on everything that you have a habit of doing. You know, it's going to be a kind of, and that's one reason why you start out at the lower level. There's one I like to call acclimation period, and this is where your family is around you and they're helping you, like through the veil when you pass. They're also helping you to get adjusted to spirit life again. We came from a pre-mortal life. We were spirits once before, but we
We signed a life contract. We're like, we know what our life is going to be. Yep, I'm going to do that. We knew what was going to happen before it even happened. And maybe that's why we have these revelations or different things. What do they call it? Oh, when you see something, you're like, I've been here before. Maybe because you saw a preview of everything.
yeah, deja vu. I have a theory about that. They didn't tell me anything about this, but I don't believe in past lives being, because one spirit, one body. That's the way I believe.
Right.
They deja vu. God has. He can see everything at one time. It's like a book, like he's turning the pages in the book. And I think in our pre-mortal life, we had a choice. We could pick out pretty much the life that we wanted to be, or we could preview what was going to go on in our life once we came down here. And I think deja vu is actually memories of us previewing that life, and we just had certain parts of it that we remember, and it's in our spirit brains, if you want to call it that. But
So it could be that. It could be that, but I don't know. I heard about past lives, never really believed in it until I met my mentor, and she was telling me about her and her daughter had past lives. Like, they were brother and sister. They were this and that. She was the mom and she was the daughter, blah, blah, blah. Like, different things happening. I think that spirits can recycle because we're trying to learn lessons. And we don't learn it the first time, but we can the second, third, or fourth, or maybe fifth time. I don't know. To me, that recurring dream that kept happening to me was a past life experience, because it was every night for like, I want to say 2 or 3 years, because that's how it felt, but it could have been just one. I don't know.
Well, I used to think that way. I'll tell you right now, Ouija boards, the demon that's in that, all demons tell lies. Ouija boards tell lies. And you have to
I think so too. It's spirits trying to trick you to think that's your mom, or that's your dad, or that's your lost loved one that you're trying to contact. And it's really not. It's something like trying to get in with you. It's not a good thing. Don't do the Ouija board. I did it once. Won't ever do it again.
Same here. Same here. But it's like, even as mediums, we ask questions of the spirit, or ask you questions about how they look or approximate age. That's to vilify that we're talking to the person that we're supposed to be talking to.
Hey! Sorry, holy shnikes, something just fell off my table, but I had to let you know, Minnesota Grows 420 is here. So complete what your thought was, and then we'll get to this fella. Thank you for coming back. I'm so glad. But please continue what you were saying.
Okay. Well, I actually forgot what I was lost my train of thought. You have to be careful, even in the spirits that we talk to or have communication to can come at it as a good spirit and not be good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They could be.
Yes.
I found out too. We got spirits around us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You and I and the mediums. We got spirits around us all the time. Majority of them, I hope, is good, but some of them are bad, and they come at you and they disguise themselves as somebody else. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why you ask questions and stuff like that when you give it a reading, especially when they first present themselves to you. You know, I have I gave us the one that's spirit question, you know, and I guess I secured it or something. It just till I'm gone. So I knew who I was giving the
Right?
it wasn't
Okay,
too well.
so yeah, it's crazy how that stuff happens. We have Minnesota Grows 420 in the house. Yeah, he's been so patient with me. I'm like, I'm sorry, like, because I wanted you to continue your thoughts and your stories and everything and get to doing readings in the second hour. And it was nothing disrespectful to you, Minnesota Grows 420. It was just like, there's a time and a place for everything. So we're going to do this second or third hour, but then you finally came back. I'm so grateful. So what is your question or comment or whatever you had to say?
I don't really have a comment. Am I echoing badly?
No.
Okay. I'm just here to kind of listen and, take in things. These things interest me greatly, so I'm not here to debate Alan Wright. So I'm just trying to hear from a perspective, That's the only reason why I'm
Well, yeah, and you had a lot of interesting things to say earlier on, etc. And I spoke up and I was like, yeah, I totally agree with that. I agree that the Bible that I'm reading today is not the Bible that it originally was. And then I heard that the Catholic Church, because they have all this shit in some sort of storage space, they're like, oh, we're gonna redo this. So I'm kind of excited about that because, like you said, it's the will of man. Like, people, for their own whatever they want, have said certain things in the Bible. And if you pray to God before you read it and et cetera, like, things will be shown to you and things will be omitted because these things don't count, but these things do. And it's because the will of man. Like, they've added and left things out, etc. But did you want a reading or anything? Because Alan's pretty awesome. He could do that for you. But it's totally up to you what you want to do. Or if you had anything to add to this conversation.
What's your name?
I think I do. My whole premise, before I even jump into this thing, is just to illustrate that I'm not here to contest or to make anybody feel like crap or whatever they believe. So. I just want to say that like straight away. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Yep, we're all here. I mean, would you rather feel hate or love, or would you rather feel controversy or acceptance and a hug? I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, I would like love and a hug better than all the other stuff.
Yes.
So we're all in this together and it's a learning process. You know what I mean? So, you have one view, I have another view, except I think my view is probably more enhanced than I was there.
You kind of assume that we have contradictory beliefs, but I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that...
Oh, I don't think he does. I think he was just like...
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Is my microphone like echoing badly, or... I'm getting
No, I don't hear it, but like when I unmute, it could happen. Okay. So it's not you, it's me. So blame it on me, okay?
Oh, that's okay.
No, I have no respect for organized religion. I think
it has so much power, and it has historically had like way more power than it should have ever. Look at the Catholicism going way back into the Dark Ages. Think about all the people of
everything because of religion. I just have no. I believe in God. I know for a fact there's a God.
I think there's something.
I know there's a higher being.
I just don't pretend to know what that is because I think there are higher levels of consciousness beyond ours.
Exactly.
It's just like when you put food in your dog's bowl, the dog doesn't know where that came from. It doesn't know where it was made in, what city it was made in, and from what ingredients. And so there's different levels. I think we're the dogs, and if we pretend like we're anything more, then that's just beyond egotistic. We just have to accept. We just have to accept that this is where we're at, and if there are higher planes and higher things that are beyond ourselves, that are beyond our understanding, then we just have to accept that, and that's part of just being at peace with yourself is just understanding, like this is where we're at, and I accept that I don't know everything, and I accept that I will never even be physically capable of understanding everything. You know what I mean?
I respect your. Everybody is on us three, I believe, is on our life's path, which means we are on paths that we are comfortable with, paths that if we stay on them, will take us to a certain destination. So I respect you and how you feel.
Thank you. I mean, I try to respect everybody, but I mean, I think that one of the things that we have to, as human beings, do is just understand how limited our perspectives are.
Exactly.
That's the number one most important thing. And once you accept that you are not the know-it-all, then the better off you are. You know, just accept that there are things that happen that are beyond our comprehension as humans.
Through that.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Be open-minded. Stay open-minded, because
for sure.
you know you gotta have things happen to you, or you're gonna see something, and if you're not open-minded about it, you know, you will not be able to grow anymore. You know, I believe the Bible and respect to what they did to Jesus, number one. And that's because they were closed-minded. They couldn't accept the fact that, you know, he came and presented
and
himself.
they were underwriters of a very powerful entity at the time as well. So even if they did have sympathy for Jesus before they nailed him to the cross, it didn't mean that they were willing to sacrifice their beliefs at that point, because entirely they would be nailed next to him on the cross. Right. I think the most influenced organized religions had in this world is Catholicism by far, bar none. Catholicism.
Well, that's the biggest banquet. Like, they're going out there, and I love Monty Python when they did that, and they come with the cushy pillows.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, it's the Spanish Inquisition with the cushy pillows. It's like, what the fuck? No.
Right.
But seriously, like, they're trying to put it down your throat, into your brain, whatever. Like, I respect religion because I think it's, like I said, like a good forefront, a good cornerstone. But I'm not religious. Even though I sought that throughout my life, I am spiritual. I need to know the truth. I need to know what's out there. And so many places and religions and stuff are shutting things down. It's like, oh, well, you have to get to, instead of this level, you have to be this level to know this. Like, what? You know, to me, it's ridiculous. Like, we should all know everything we need to know, because this is important, because the battle we're about to go into is pretty hardcore.
Even us mediums are at different levels. Every one of us is at different levels of life, of learning, education. Might be able to do more than somebody else as a medium. But there's people out there that can really knock your socks off. You know, I mean, they make me look like some little kid when it comes to knowing things and being able to read, do readings and stuff. It's, you know, we're all at different levels.
Don't doubt yourself, for one thing.
Yeah.
I hope you don't.
Yeah, we're all looking for the truth, I think.
That's the path, right? It's like we're on this planet and we don't really know what the hell's going on, but we'd like to know. And so she's like mocking.
Sorry, I just have to say I can't hear. Okay, finally this earbud is coming in, but I couldn't hear you because I have little tiny ear canals and my earbud fell out, so I had to put the other one in and it just now connected. So now I can hear you. But yeah, I just had to tell you that. I'm not ignoring you. It's just I couldn't hear what you were saying, and I
I'm
hate
really
it. So,
I'm interested to hear what Alan has to say about a lot of things, and I'm not here to contradict him in any way. This is just it's all about perspective. You have to get perspective from many different views, as many as possible.
Exactly.
And you can't make abrupt decisions about anything, politics or whatever, until you have listened at least and have legitimately paid attention to multiple perspectives. So that's really why Alan. I didn't mean to hijack your.
No, you didn't. You look at
no, you're all
war
good.
in Israel and stuff. You know, none of them have open minds. They don't want to get along. You know, they want to push their beliefs and their way of life and everything on somebody else. You know,
Agendas.
And it's in Russia. The rest of it.
I would say that that conflict in Israel and between Hamas and Israelis and between those properties has been going on for a long, long time. And one thing we have to remember, and I'm not picking sides here, but from a logical perspective, Israel has done some crap to Hamas.
Seriously, when it started off with Hamas going in to that music festival, shooting people, yada yada, taking hostages, this was pretty hairy scary. And now, I don't know, they're saying, oh, we blew up this hospital because that's where they were staying in the lower levels. Really? And then they've blown up several different places that they think are tunnels. Now they're like, now we're thinking about flooding it. Well, if you think about doing that, motherfucker, if you do that, you're going to drown the people that were taken hostage. You're going to be the one that kills that hostage. And there's been several left behind, along the line. They're like, oh, we found this one. Oh, we found this one. And it's generally like 45 to more years old people left behind. So maybe they got what they needed out of them and they killed them. Or maybe it was because of some certain blast that happened that they're there. But to me, that's just very chaotic. And
it goes way back to after World War II, in 1947, is actually when Israel was declared a sovereign state. They gave them all that land, and then the people that were in that land were the Palestinians, which are actually completely innocent in this whole thing. And then there was a war, there was a conflict as Israel tried to reclaim their property going north towards the sea. All these tribes and things of the Palestinians were living in that area, right? So then, of course, there's going to be conflicts. Boom, boom, boom. And then the Palestinians do some acts that Israel declares terrorism, and they fight back a little bit, right? And then Israel moves in. When the original deal was 49 to 51% of the land was given to the Palestinians or the Israelis, then all of a sudden the Israelis are like, these guys are attacking us, right? I know this is boring. And then as Israel goes in,
no, it's not. It's not boring at all.
And then suddenly they claim 60% of the territory until the next conflict.
No, guess what? They're going. So there's east or west Hamas. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like East or West Hamas, and they're driving us out. They're like, if you don't leave tomorrow, we're going to kill you. And then it's the Israelis going in there, getting these people to leave. Like, they're not a part of Hamas. They're not doing anything like that. They're just like farmers and croppers or whoever the heck they are. So and they're like, no, you have to leave. If you don't leave, we'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, and they're like, we're going to kill you. What? And they're taking over.
They elected Hamas to power, which was a mistake. And now they can't get out of it. They're trapped. So whenever you see these protesters saying free Palestine, it's because they're trapped in the Gaza Strip between basically a mafia faction. You know what I mean? What a position to be in for those people.
Yeah, and Alan was saying earlier, like, this is the end of times, and I've been saying that for a while, but I feel like maybe I'm fucked up in the head and paranoid or whatever, but I do feel like this is the end of time. And
You're not
since the
you're
beginning
not
of time,
paranoid.
people have been talking about the end of time. And I'm just like, I don't know, like, when I was pregnant with my daughter, who is now 24, I fell asleep in front of the TV, and I kept having these visions of the fucking World War III or whatever the fuck. It could be World War IV. Who knows? Who knows how far this is gonna go? But
Well, here's
I
the
was
thing,
seeing it in front of my
World War III
face,
will
and
be
it's
fought
like,
with nuclear weapons.
yeah,
World War
but
IV will be fought with stones and rocks and branches.
and sticks, yeah. But no, I was seeing
Because the
like,
human
to me,
species had
here
a
I-
reset.
yeah. Well, to me, here I am in America, and I'm seeing like I'm in Afghanistan or Israel or wherever. Like,
Did you serve
it is war
in the
torn.
military?
It is yes, I was in the Marine Corps for a little bit. But no,
Oh,
I'm seeing this,
right on.
and I was pregnant with my first daughter. She's now 24 years old, so this is 24 years ago, and I'm having these visions. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I wake up and the news is on. I'm like, oh, that must be it. But I don't think it was. I think it was really like, what the heck is happening right now? What the heck continues to happen? Like, what the hell? I'm actually going to say hell.
I would say to divert your attention from, I guess I would say their planetary problems, which are
Oh, yeah, and I
great
did that
and
too.
many.
I was just like,